In a world where people are losing their minds, who will be the voice of sanity, of logic, of rationale, of morality and truth? This podcast is looking for like-minded people to stand up to the insane and be real. The Recovery Atheist podcast is calling you to step forward and be counted. Welcome to the voice of change. Welcome to the Recovery Atheist podcast.
Well, hello, everybody out there in Podcast Nation. I just want to say that I am so excited to be back and have you join me today on the Recovery Atheist podcast. Well, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Haven't talked with you, with my peeps for a while now. I decided this weekend would be a good weekend to, start pumping them back out again, and got a lot of new content I'm going to be bringing out and giving out to the masses, and I think it's going to be a great 2021. At least I hope so. I hope so far 2021 has worked well for you so far, and that it's been okay, that you've been able to stay alive. These COVID mask mandates are looking like they might be coming down here shortly where I'm at. So hopefully the vaccinations and everything will start calming things down and we'll get back to normalcy. Boy, we could sure use that, right? Well, I'm sure a lot of people, I know some of you anyway, have seen pictures on my Facebook post, have heard things, and I've been gone for a while. It has definitely been a trying time for me. It has been a situation where I could have gone without that, April happening. But it's a learning tool, right? It's a lesson. It's something that I can use to try to look at the situation and try to better myself as a human. So let me just break it down a little bit for you, what's going on. So in April, I've had a lot of, I would say, bad things happen that I've had to battle through and overcome and get back on my feet. But I have done it. That's the good thing. So the biggest thing is I had some pressure being put on me. End of March, in the first part of April, my stress level, my anxiety level, a lot of my mental health symptoms started getting worse and worse. I was living in the sober living home at the end of March. I thought my idea and what was going on is I was going to be house managing the sober living home. I really, that's what I thought I'd be doing. I didn't have it in my mind that it would be 2 weeks and I'd be living in a completely different place and not a sober living home. It was a shock. It was a cultural change. Go from the east side to the west side, new area to learn. I don't know much over here. The buses, I've always been on the east side here in Duluth. And so now I'm having to learn it. I got a new job that I started. I've got this new place that I've got to take care of, and make sure rent's paid and everything is being done like it's supposed to, and I'm getting to work. Being told, you have to get out of the sober living home like it went down, didn't help. I moved into my new place, got a new job, didn't know the roommates, I have 3 roommates, didn't know them when I moved in. At the point, I really didn't care, to be honest with you. I just needed a room. But I've gotten to know them now, and we all fit really well. We all have our lives, and we do our thing. And so it's a good fit that way. So I also had started the new job as a mental health practitioner. I had started that. The whole plan was to do that part-time, maybe get lucky and get 3 or 4 days a week out of the job, and then come home and do the house managing thing. Well, that changed. So now I have to start paying rent. I wasn't paying any rent at the sober living home. So now I'm having to pay rent. So I've got to get hours, right? The hours I was getting was not going to be enough to cover what I need for my monthly expenses. And so I started pushing a little on them to where I covered whatever hours that were available that they needed someone to cover it. I did it. So, I would do the swing shifts. My schedule was all over the place. So that wasn't good either. No structure. I mean, my sleep, I was not sleeping well. So I had the stress of that going on. I'm still to this day struggling with sleep. I'm trying to do the best I can with it to get back on a sleep schedule, and you'll hear why later on, why my sleep schedule's different. So here I am going into a job where they're going to expect a certain, at least in my opinion, and I'm hard on myself. I'm I'm the biggest critic for myself, but I'm coming in with almost 10 years of experience working in this environment, and I do have a lot of knowledge in it and how to deal with it, how to do the paperwork, how to deal with the guests and how to talk with them, how to help de-escalate situations. Had a lady on the phone one time that was having a panic attack, and that's, being able to help people like that, especially when I deal with some of my own mental health concerns that I have to talk to people about to help sometimes. It's fulfilling. It really is. I can't complain about where I work. Best job I've had. So I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself while I'm being trained, and all the other pressure being put on me. I had a breakdown. And I believe that when it comes to drug addictions, alcoholism, that it's not just the CD part that's the problem. We call it, in the old days when I was in school, it was dual diagnosed. Okay, so they have a different name for it now, and I try not to use it. I always say dual diagnosed just to piss people off. But anyway, I like the old terminology. I think they're dual diagnosed. I think it's a great way of saying that they have a chemical dependency issue and they have a mental health issue. They're dual diagnosed. They have a dependence. It could be alcohol dependence, which is in the DSM manual for diagnosis, and it could go along with bipolar. It can go along with generalized anxiety disorder. It can go along with just regular depression that gets diagnosed all the time. Millions of people. Social anxiety, panic attacks, schizophrenia. It's a big deal, and you have to be able to understand that your mental health will drive a lot of the other decisions you make, like the behaviors that can cause you to put a bottle to your mouth, and that's what I did. Couple days of it. Really, when you look at the entire month of April, I drank maybe 4.5 days. Each time getting myself up to move on to get help, and I'll explain that a little bit later. But the biggest thing about it, what made it so hard, is in the past, when I've been in these situations, I just go on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and so the month becomes I've just been drunk the entire month. Now, that's a bad month, yes. But the reason why this one was harder is because I was trying to fight. And it was not fun. Fighting back. And I went a good 12 rounds with this situation in April, and I won. I'm on the other side of it, and things are going back in the right direction. So I had a breakdown. Why? Some will say, and I know some people here in Duluth that know me well will say this, that I isolated. That big I word that they talk about a lot with alcoholics and drug addicts. Yeah. I isolate. Let me explain why. And it doesn't excuse it, okay? I'm not saying that by me saying this is going to clear the palate of that. And you know what? Yeah, no. But I am an only child. I grew up in a home where I had to entertain myself a lot of the times. I had to make up games. I played a lot of basketball in the driveway, man. Tens of thousands of shots I've shot on that driveway. Till my fingers are cracked. It's so dark I can't see the rim every day. And so it wasn't like I didn't spend time with my parents during that, because my dad played a lot of basketball with me, taught me everything I know that way. And he was kind of tough on me, but it made me tough in the long run and a better player because of it. And then my mom, we had our little things that we like to do. Going out to a Mexican restaurant in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and just spending the afternoon together. So it wasn't I don't look at it as a bad childhood. I mean, was I raised in a very hardcore, religious, strict, structured Pentecostal church upbringing? Yeah. Was I made to feel that at 8 years old I had to act like an adult? Or more, even a little bit later, 11, 12, that I'm supposed to be already ministry material, I guess. Yeah, that's a little too much to put on a kid. No, that definitely, but they know that not everything they did, if they could go back, they would take a different path with it. And I get it. It's fine. That's not what my mental health is about. My trauma with that is pretty much done, in my opinion. But there is other things. And my therapist is pulling out more and more out of me those situations. Being bullied in school. Yeah. I was a fat kid. That, I'm sure, had a psychological effect on me to today. To even into today, it still is there. Just different things that I've seen. And that trauma causes you to feel really, you don't have any self-worth. And so that's the way I was, it's kind of a shame-based kind of situation, but that's the way I am with myself. I'm very hard. I'm, my worst critic. So getting back to the only child thing, it's like I'm okay with being alone in a room and being able to just watch TV, my YouTube or Netflix, or play PS4, or I have a Stadia now video game system, which is awesome. It's so good. Try it out. I like it. And do podcasting and stuff like this. So not all of it is isolating, but yeah, I get the correlation. When I'm drinking, a lot of times I'm isolating in my room when I'm doing it, and so there's a connection, but it's more complicated than that. It's more complex. I didn't speak to anybody. That was probably one of the biggest things, and I'm just going to say this to the guys that are listening in the audience. Come on, how many of you out there that you want to show yourself as that big tough guy? You got it under control. You're the man with the master plan. Yeah, you don't need help. Truth is I did, but I struggle with reaching out for that help. Again, it's that pride that I have that I struggle with. because I want to be perfect. It's just the way I'm designed. It's the way my brain works. Okay? It's the way growing up, being conditioned in my environment has caused it. It's so many different variables that you throw it into the cocktail. Okay? The fucked up cocktail. I was missing therapy. That didn't help. Sorry, Kylie. You know, you're awesome. You know, I know you have my back. But yeah, I should have been reaching out. Medication stoppage. A lot of times when I'm drinking, it's not that I'm trying to stop taking it. What happens is I'm drunk throughout the day, and so I just don't realize I need to take it because I'm passed out all the time. Coming awake for about 30 minutes drinking hardcore, watching a little YouTube, passing back out again for another 3 hours, waking up for another 30 minutes, drinking enough to pass back out again for another 3 hours, and waking up and doing 30. Do you see the cycle here? So yeah, my idea and my thoughts of taking medication, not my number one priority at that time. Now, see, at that time, my addiction, my alcoholism has taken over. I am no longer at the wheel. And I know people will say that's a cop-out, but it's not so much that. It actually, there's some truth in it. Okay, it is a disease of the mind, and that obsession and that craving and that desire to use, once you take that first drink, I do agree, it can be rough. It's a slippery slope. You know, so when it comes down to it, is I don't know if my medications really are working or not, because I don't know if I've consistently been using them. If the reason I had the breakdown was because I need a different medication, or what it is. I'm just going to be honest about it. What I'd like to do is I would like to get me a medicinal marijuana card here in Minnesota for my trauma, PTSD, and my bipolar and sleep issues, and be able to have marijuana. As everyone knows, I've had Murdoch. That's what I call him now. That's my nickname for him. It's the Murdoch. Murdoch with his cannabis documentary that he has. Him and I are good friends, and have huge agreements on marijuana advocacy and what it can do for this country. And so I'm a huge advocate for it, so I'm looking into that as well. Really, when it comes down to it, I'm looking for any option I can to try to get help. You know, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to have that happen. I have a good job. Now, so throughout all of this first breakdown, I miss a whole entire week of work. I'm going to a detox facility where, you know, someone who's in charge there has contact with where I work and this and that. It's just now, of course, I have HIPAA laws which protect me and allow me to get the help that I need to be able to get healthy and get back to work. And that's what they did. They worked with me on it and got me back. And I felt grateful and honored to be able to do that. I try to do right, and a couple weeks later, it happens again. And it happens after I was told at work, I came in for staff meeting that day, that they're moving me to full-time. Now, that's where the sleep issue comes in. I'm overnights full-time, Monday through Friday, 12 to 8. So that's why my sleep issues are happening. I'm still trying to figure out my sleep pattern, okay? So I do it again. Right after I'm being told this, I have another breakdown. I don't know if it's because I have a fear. I'm really fucked up. I have a fear of failure and a fear of success. I mean, I'm fucked. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, and I struggle with it. That's my complex. So, again, I broke to the pressure. Again, didn't talk to anybody. Again, didn't. Now, I did take my medication through that time. This time around, I didn't get as bad as the first time of the month. I didn't drink as much, but yet I felt worse. My body, I'm starting to realize this now. My body's deteriorating when I drink. I can't drink anymore. Each time I do it now, it's getting worse to where I don't need to drink as much, feel worse, and have more consequences. And so the second detox, I had a seizure. I had a DT trimming seizure. I was shaking so much, and my muscles were so tight to the bone that they tried to take my blood pressure and couldn't get a reading. So they had to hit me with some Ativan to try to calm me down. Got to the hospital. Yeah, I had to have the emergency ride in the ambulance to the hospital. They got me all set up, hit me with phenobarbital. I just want to thank that doctor, by the way. I'm not going to thank God for the doctor. This is the Recovery Atheist podcast, after all. So I'm going to thank the doctor, not God. The doctor was amazing in it. He came in. He was, how do I say it? He was very patient, ready. He came in with a style. And he's like, "What are we going to do, Mr. Bacon?" And I just looked at him and I said, "Hit me with the phenobarbital, baby." That's how I said it. Because at that time, the Ativan was starting to go through me. I hadn't ate for a couple days, so there's this like sucrose toothpaste goop that you can suck down. So I was sucking on that in the ambulance. It gets sugar into your body to raise your sugar levels, because I guess I was low. I don't have diabetes though, but I get there, and I'm just like, hit me with the pheno. Hit me with the phenobarbital, baby. Because in Kentucky, when you go to detox there's no Ativan. There's phenobarbital. And this is one area about Kentucky that I do applaud. That they do know what they're doing in this area. Minnesota needs to start using it. It sounds like they're working on it to where it's going to be starting to be used more and more, to the point where when they discharged me from the hospital back to detox, they would give it to me there. But when I discharged from detox 2 days later, I still had phenobarbital pills left over. Okay. And they gave them to me to where I could take it home. And for the next 2 days, I had these pills to help with my withdrawal to stop a seizure. It was amazing. In Kentucky, or in St. Paul and Minneapolis, you cannot leave the facility, the detox facility, if you have not been off those medications for at least 24 hours. Not here. Here it's like, so it's coming more into view that let's use some phenobarbital on some people, and I'm telling you, they're going to be fine. So the doctor looks at me and he's like, "Really?" He says, "Have you had it before?" I'm like, "Yeah, down in Kentucky. That's all they use down there for this." And he goes, "You have any allergies to it? Had any reactions?" I says, "No." I says, "Hit me with it." He goes, "All right, let's do it." He looked at the nurse and he says, "Get him a big bag." And that was it. They hooked up the IV. They brought in a saline solution, or, for fluids, and then brought in the phenobarbital to go in with it. And I sat there and took the whole bag down. Got back to detox, and the nurses, when I walked in, looked at me like, "Who are you?" Completely different look. I'd gotten color back in my cheeks, I guess, when I was at the hospital. And in the photo, it looks that way. Very pale, very white. I was not doing well. And yeah, I guess when I walked in, they're like, "Wow, you're flush. You're, like, what happened?" And I said, "Well, had him do phenobarbital on me." And they're like, "Did the doctor?" I'm like, "No, I asked for it." I know my pharmacology. I know I had pharmacology class in school. I had a few different classes of it in school. So I know these drugs, and I've also known because I've had them given to me before, and so I know how they feel. Okay, and what they do, just like weed. Okay. Yes, I have smoked weed. I know what it is. I know the feeling, and I know the effects it has on me, and the quality and the good effects, the great effects that it has. So they're like, wow, we're going to have to make a note of that. And I'm like, you should, talk to your director about it, because it's something that it's being wasted. It's there. It would help you tremendously, and not having to worry about having someone seize out and die. Like I mean, it wasn't as bad. It was a very mild one, but still, there's going to be other guys. There's a guy I was in there with, boy, definitely scared me that way too. Don't want to be like that. So anyway, it happens again. Get into detox. I get out, and of course, like I said, bosses and people know each other between the detox and where I work at the mental health facility, because we all work together, and release of informations for between guests and clients and stuff that come through our facilities, and we all know each other. And they brought me back. To this day, I want to say thank you for that, for bringing me back, because I don't know what would have happened, because, I mean, the job and what I do gives me hope when I see people struggling and trying to get help, that I just need to keep struggling and keep getting help and keep doing what I need to do to survive. So yeah, it's been interesting. So through all of this, I guess the biggest thing I'm trying to say is definitely be watching your mental health. It's not always about the chemical dependency issue. Got to check out your mental health. Not a lot of other stuff really. But that was a full month. I mean, we just got done with April. We're going into May. I want to say that I am really getting tired of the weather here in Duluth. But I will say this. The last couple days have been gorgeous. Sunny, around 70 degrees, perfect weather. It seems like we've been holding in the mid to high 40s to low mid 50s all the time. We've had lows down to like 35, 36 at night. It's just time to warm up. It's time for some summer and get back active again. We got these mask mandates, like I said. So, yeah, we just gotta... I'm ready for summer. But yeah, I mean, this has been I don't know how to explain it. It's been an experience, a journey. It's something that I really feel that this is going to help me grow. And this is going to help me grow in so many different areas. It's new experiences, new things to bring to my life, to bring as experience, to be able to get into more depth with my podcast, be able to do more things like that. There's going to be more collaborations coming up in the future. But yeah, change is a bitch. And I've had a lot of change here in the last month and a half. Yeah. Well, now that I got that out in the open, it feels good. I've cleaned it out. It's out there. This is what I am. This is who I am. And this is what I'm going to bring to the table. Okay. Yeah. So what else is going on out there? What else can we talk about for a little bit longer here? Trying to think. My parents are coming up next weekend. That's going to be fun. They're coming from Indiana up. I always get a jolt of energy when they come and see me, and kind of pushes me out. They come about every 6 months to see what's up. They're not getting young. They're not getting any younger. They're getting up there. So them being able to make the travel yet is amazing. to come here. It's a good trip from the Louisville area on the Indiana side. So that'll be fun. They'll be in town. I'm going to show them a few things. Oh, yeah, I guess I can talk about this. I just want to advertise this a little bit. To all you racing fans, to all you guys out there, and obviously, like Danica Patrick's, women as well. I know, like for me, this is the opinion I had about Formula One. Bunch of smug, asshole, rich dicks, right? Dickheads. There is a documentary that's on Netflix right now about Formula One. If you are anything about racing and being competitive, I suggest that you check it out. It is amazing. Gives the full background into it. Yeah, there's a lot of money there. And these guys are getting paid a lot of money to do what they do. But a lot of them are making like $4-5 million per season, and they're going at, 200 miles per hour in a little go-kart. Well, it's a bigger size go-kart, but that's what it is. That's what these guys are. They're drivers that raced with karts. They started as a kid on go-karts and doing their things, and as they got older, they got the bigger racing machines, bigger karts, and now they're in these beautiful Formula One. Just, oh my God, I drool. Every time I see the McLaren, I'm, out of all the, I like Red Bull. If it's going to be Red Bull and Mercedes always winning it, which I really hope that's not the case, I'm going for Red Bull because Max Verstappen is just, he's an amazing driver for them. But to catch up with Lewis Hamilton, who is by far the best driver ever in the history of Formula One, in my opinion, and I know some people are going to get mad at me about Niki Lauda, but he was a great racer too. But Lewis is just, he's a machine. He's an absolute machine. Just win in and out, podiums every time. But my team is McLaren. I like Danny Ricciardo, and I really like Lando Norris. Those are the two drivers for McLaren. I love their car. I love the colors. It's like an orangish cream with blue. They're really sharp looking, and they look really fast. So I bought the Formula One video game for my PS4, and yeah, I was driving for McLaren. That changed, though, because I started getting better and better and better, and I started having engine issues on the video game. Yeah, that's how real this game is. Okay. So they, for some reason, were not able to get my motor to start working correctly. We were starting to have issues, and this game has you designing parts and everything for the race car. Okay, new futuristic designs to try to get that extra, tenth of a second off your run times, off your qualifying rounds. So they couldn't seem to get it right, and my motor kept blowing up. It would get stressed out and it would blow. In fact, one of the races I was racing in, it was the Canadian Grand Prix, which is in Montreal, and I was just so excited. I got a buddy who lives in Montreal, Andre. I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to win there. I'm like, I've got 2 laps left. I got this in the bag. I'm up by like 8 seconds on the second place guy, so I'm in pretty good position. I'm good on tires. Yeah, your tires wear out to where eventually it gets so bad they just start passing and you have to hit, pit and do everything just like the real racing. I have 2 laps left and the motor blows. I was pissed. I win that race. I take over the leader for the championship over Lewis and Bottas from Mercedes. That would have been sweet, right? So, like 3 straight races, it was bad. My contract came up, And I went to Red Bull and said, would you offer me a contract if I wanted to come race for you? And they said yes for $3 million. So I'm making $3 million a year on the game. I'm rich, bitch. I'm rich, bitch. It's just the way it is. I'm rich. It's how I roll. Okay? That's right. Anyway, no. Formula One, you got to check it out. It is interesting. The last race was kind of boring, but it was a track that it's really hard to pass people on the track. You want a track that has wide open runs where they're doing 200 to 225 miles an hour in the straightaway, to where they can hit a corner and try to pass somebody during the straightaway. And this last race just does not have those corners like that. It's very hard to pass somebody. But yeah, check it out. I think you'll like it. There's a lot of different things coming up. I'm planning on doing a podcast with my old partner, JR. JR and I, back in the day, just being a little honest about it, had a little of a difference of opinion there for a little bit. We've come back and started talking again about doing a once a month get together and collaborating, and I'm interested in talking about it. We're going to go have some lunch tomorrow and do an episode, and we're just going to see where it goes and go from there. And then his brother Isaac, my former sponsor, he's still a mentor to me, good friend. Isaac is getting ready to start his own podcast. I think he had told me that that's going to be starting off in July. He's doing a bunch of pre-recorded episodes to put out, so he has a line of opening up for everybody, so you can just fully enjoy the content that he's going to be bringing of all different sizes. For time, you just want a quick 5-minute on the way into work, or a quick 10-minute episode, and then he'll have an interview with somebody each month. That'll be like an hour interview. I'm really looking forward to it. He's part of the One Love Nation. That's his gimmick, or it's not gimmick, it's his culture. That's how I'm going to say it. He's creating a culture with it. You can get shirts and everything like that. And then he's a mighty fine rapper as well. He's got an album, I think, that's either coming out or it's already out. I got to ask him about it. I'm going to see him in a couple days. I'm going to be hooking up with him and getting caught up. So, things are going the way they're supposed to go, right? You just keep moving forward. Like I had said to the panicked person who's having the panic attack the other night, I'm going to say it to you. In this moment, are you afraid of anything hurting you? In this moment, do you have food? In this moment, do you have clothes? In this moment, do you have a roof over your head? In this moment, are you able to shower, use the bathroom, stay clean? In this moment, do you have people you can talk to, friends, coworkers? Do you have a job? These are questions that when we're getting in that state of we feel like something's wrong and we're not okay, that we need to start looking at what is okay. I have a job, a wonderful job that I get to come in and it's fulfilling. I have great coworkers, very respectful, and treat me like I'm wanted, and that I bring something to the table for the place. And I love that. I have a roof over my head. It's a work in progress, but got to start somewhere, right? I have food, not hungry. I'm a big boy. Have a shower, have a bathroom, stay clean. have good family and friends. Need to talk to, some of them a little bit more than I normally do, but I do. And, I've got good hobbies. This one, being one of them, podcasting. I think when it comes to this is definitely something I enjoy doing, and I think I'm good at it, and I love doing it, and I want to continue to do it. And that's what this episode is about, is getting back on the horse again. Now, some of you have been with me along for the entire ride. This is episode number 97. 97, and it hasn't even been a year yet. I'm about ready to hit 2,000 downloads. 26 countries. And none of it is possible without you out there listening and supporting me. And I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for being faithful that way. I love everyone that is a fan of the show and wants to listen to it. And I hope I can continue to bring the same entertaining content that keeps you coming back. Now, if you want to get a hold of me, give me some topic ideas, give me some, anything. I've got shirts for sale. Just get a hold of me by email and we'll talk. Who knows, if I know you well because I've seen you commenting, maybe I'll just throw the shirt at you in the mail for free. I've done it once to my man Lucas Shelton down in Indianapolis. That's right, everybody. That's a shout out to Lucas Shelton down there in Indianapolis. You know who I'm talking about out there, boy. That's right. That's my shout out for the episode. I'm going to give a shout out to my boy KC, also down in Minneapolis. We connected again this week. I've known him for about 13 years. Good boy. Played a lot of poker together. We each have done our damage to each other and taking money off of out of each other's wallets. But yeah, good guy, good friend of mine. Love him dearly. Want to say a shout out to my parents. I love you as well. I'll be seeing you in a week. Who knows? Maybe you won't listen to this until you're on your way up. Who knows? You can find me on YouTube. Obviously, I do audio for the podcast, and I also do a video that I put on YouTube. It's under the Recovery Atheist channel. Please subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notifications. And when I keep putting up videos, you're going to get that. You can also take me on the go wherever you want to go. I mean, I'm on everything now. It's like 12 platforms. It's just crazy. I mean, I can go to any of the podcast platforms and I'm on there. It's crazy. We got Pandora. We've got Spotify. We got Amazon Music. We got Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio. I mean, it just goes on. And Deezer. You can just go on and on and on the list of where it's at. So you can find me anywhere you want to find me. Please, if you're not a fan of my show, please become a fan of the show. I want you along for the trip because this is going to be an interesting journey, my friends. All right, you take care out there. Peace. Love you.
Thank you for listening to the Recovery Atheist podcast. It's now up to you. What will you do with what you've heard? How will you use it? I challenge you not to stay silent. Be heard. Be real. Be different.